Most of us use the internet every day. Communication and the dissemination of news have evolved over the last centuries. On the internet, people have free access to not only spread information and data, but also express their thoughts and opinions as well as beliefs and values. The internet has expanded and evolved, as there are not only research platforms like Google, but also multiple social medias as well as news channels and other platforms. All of these platforms pose a lot of opportunities and chances, but also dangers. For most people around us, the internet is very accessible, but in less developed countries, the internet isn't accessible for everybody. Only 65% of the world's population have access to the internet. Doesn't that exclude a lot of people and is the reason for social inequality?
A post on social media stays in the internet forever. Huge companies like Facebook can track your data, and people can make profiles of you and influence you in many ways, from which career path to choose to who you will vote in the next election. Those aren't just potential risks. The company Cambridge Analytica did exactly that. They got paid and influenced a lot of voters. Most people just think of cookies if they hear the word tracking records, but nowadays the tracking can really affect the course of people's life. Another part of the tracking is used for filters. You liked a catty video? No problem, here are 100 other ones. The elections in 2 days and the elections campaign aren't as interesting as the cats, right? This is used daily, mostly on social media. The posts you see and like result in more posts looking like that. All of us are in media filter bubbles, which can isolate us heavily. This can often result in a difference of the understanding of what counts under general knowledge. You saw a meme with 1 million likes and you are sure that everyone around you has also seen it? That doesn't have to be the case, and you can be the only one in your city who has seen it. Not really sounds like a huge problem, because it is only a meme, but this is easily transferable to every kind of post. The result? The definition of what counts under general knowledge differentiates between people and results in a huge social inequality.
Many countries believe that politics should be free and equal, democratic. But how democratic can be something like the internet be? Social media grows more and more, and for a lot of years now the campaigns for politics are online. These politicians are online as well as the voters, so the internet should be democratic, right? But what does democratic even mean? Democratic comes from the noun democracy and contains the word demos, people, and kratos, system. So it translated means system by the people. Or more easily, a political system that is depending on the opinion of citizens, so the power is rooted in the citizens. Democracy isn't only the government and political side of life. Democracy contains rights for minorities, the protection of rights, and also legal equality. The questions get more important the more days go by. How democratic is the internet? And everyone should be aware of the answer. But how can you measure to what extent something is democratic? There are 5 points to conclude if something is democratic: equality, individual autonomy, freedom of expression, freedom of thought and religion, and freedom of assembly. Those 5 categories can be found in and compared to democratic structures in the real world.
To concentrate on those points makes it easier to understand and determine how democratic something is. First of all, the equality. We already showed you the problem of the accessibility of the internet for people and the social inequality resulting from it. Also, racism can be found in the algorithm of social media platforms. A white person mainly has white people on their For You page. A person from one country often just has their own countrymen on their feed. So the people on the internet can't have the same opportunities as another one. This creates a barrier between cultures, so equality can only be found in a small part. But it's not all bad. Everyone can post something and many people can find someone they like and look up to online. This results in a form of censorship, which shouldn't happen in a democracy. The censorship doesn't only come from the owner of the platform, it can also originate from the government of the country. So not only is the internet not accessible for everyone, it is also differently available for the ones with access. Also, most of the internet platforms were invented by white hetero men. Secondly, the individual autonomy. The internet is a place for everyone and anyone can post on it. Many people find someone like themselves and are able to identify with someone. They can get confirmation, for example, in their sexuality. The only people occurring is bullying, but that isn't only to be found online, but also in the real world. So it doesn't really influence the decision of how democratic something can be. Freedom of expression. The internet is a great place to express everything you want. Everyone has the freedom to express themselves. As in the real world, this can get misused. Some comments, posts and websites do get deleted because it can be offensive for some people. Most people have at least once realized, hey, that can't be true, and after a quick research on the internet they discovered those were fake news. So is it bad if some things get deleted? Does it influence the opinion of the audience more if it's deleted, or if they could possibly believe it? In a real-life situation, such fake news are often ignored, because while exchanging to other people, they find out it's wrong. If you would do the same in the internet, the post would just gain more and more popularity, and many would believe it. So, is the filtering and deleting messages violating the freedom of expression?
Freedom of thought and religion. The freedom of thought and the religion and the freedom of expression are pretty similar to each other. In the internet, you can post everything, but some things get deleted or filtered. Many people posting in the internet have a lack of critical thinking, which can easily lead into a logical fallacy. In real life, most people think more about what they ask and how they phrase it, so less fallacies are committed. Again, does the deleting post violate the freedom, or does it protect it more? The last point is the freedom of peaceful assembly. Many features on the internet are ideal to assemble a lot of people around the globe, not like in real life, where you have the limitation of the place you are. Now, it is your time to decide. With those 5 categories, you now can answer the question of how democratic the internet can be.
To conclude, to determine to what extent something can be democratic, you have to remember and think about those 5 categories. Equality, freedom of expression, and freedom of thought and religion aren't completely fulfilled on the internet, but the comparison to the real world doesn't look any better. Individual autonomy and freedom of assembly are perfectly findable in the internet and are a great push to determine how democratic something can be. A major effect on the extent of democratic is the comparison to the real world. How democratic is the real world, and is the internet less or more democratic? The categories have some problems in the real world as well as different problems on the internet. So, can you even say the real world is democratic? To some extent, yes. The idea and effort make a huge difference, and everyone tries to be as democratic as possible. That's also the case for the internet. In the internet, everyone puts effort in to make it democratic, and with our 5 categories in mind, we conclude the internet is to some extent democratic, neither less or more than in